anyone who blocks my path.
The blood that flows through her veins is special, and extremely dangerous. If showing pity would put my allies in danger, I will
Hello,
not
ladies and gentlemen.
hesitate.
Welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Three Houses. Last time we took on Edelgard. The game actually really surprised me in the fact that it was willing to kill I mean, I knew it would, but the way that scene was framed, I just really didn't think that. I thought that we'd like take her captive, try her. Like, I thought her story was over, but she surrenders and then you execute her. It seemed very unusual and really caught me. I mean, I know I already said it caught me by surprise, but it did. I'm telling the truth. But yeah, we are back on the Everyone Survives file. Actually, technically, we were on that file before because I don't know, for some reason I just didn't want to switch, and so I didn't. But we will, of course, do all the other battles on the other file. It's interesting. Someone did actually mention that, like, the other file, you're weaker, so you shouldn't do the file the first time on Everyone Survives file. I actually think that's not true. I actually think I'm stronger on the Iron Man file. And I said this in comments, but just to explain a little bit, because I had to stop and think about why that is, because I've been doing both runs, and I have to struggle more on the Everyone Survives file. And I think that's largely because on the Iron Man file, I'm always more unsure what's going to happen, so I will clear the map more, and I will just take out everyone that is within range to make sure I don't get surrounded. Whereas when I do it on this file, I'm more sure of how the battle will play out, and I think I end up fighting less enemies.
This wasn't the conclusion I had hoped for, even though Never mind. It's over now.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, like, it's always rough, because that's the thing, like, Claude and Edelgard and Dimitri were, it's weird in that at the beginning of the game we kind of see them as being friendly rivals and they hang out a lot, but I don't ever remember in the game itself them ever really talking other than their quips in battle and, like, the mock battle.
The important thing is that we won.
Here, boy. A letter. An Imperial General asked me to give it to you.
Interesting, I wonder why.
A letter? Let's see it. It looks like it's from Hubert, Edelgard's vassal.
Isn't he dead? I'm pretty sure I killed him.
If you are reading this letter, that means I have perished. As Her Majesty would never surrender to another, I can only assume she has fallen as well.
Are we saying that Edelgard would have surrendered to herself? Like, I don't know. As Her Majesty would never surrender to another. That's very odd phrasing.
It greatly pains me to think of this coming to pass. That said, as the survivors, I must ask you to settle certain affairs in our stead. You must destroy the threat that slithers in the dark.
You know, if you guys had just come to us and talked about us directly, we probably could have avoided this whole thing. Just saying.
I am sure you must recall Monica and Tomas. They're allies yet.
I freaking knew it. I knew it. The way this was being set up, I was like, Edelgard will not be the final boss. They're saying way too much about this whole group that came in from afar and did the experimentation on Lysithea and all of that.
They hold deep resentment against the children of the goddess and the people of the world. And they are biding their time until they can exact revenge.
So did Edelgard actually go against the church? Not because here's the thing. This whole time, my interpretation of what Edelgard's goal was that Edelgard, and really to a certain extent Claude as well, I don't know about Dimitri, but each of them deeply wanted a united Fodlan. And Edelgard saw that the church was intentionally setting up a Fodlan that would not be united, because the church, in its role as an arbiter, got to sort of steer the direction of the land as long as the land was divided. As soon as the land was united under someone, be it Edelgard, be it Claude, be it Dimitri, as soon as the land was united, the church's influence and power fell drastically. And it could make recommendations, but there was no real, it had no power. Whereas as long as the land was divided, then there would always be conflicts between the different empire and kingdom and federation, and the church in its role as arbiter could kind of be like, oh hey, well I've heard what each of you has to say and this is what you should do. So I always thought that Edelgard's whole thing was that the church existed to perpetuate division. and that's why she attacked it. That's a little bit extreme from her point, but that's sort of what I thought was her goal. But this is actually saying that potentially Monica and Tomas's, or Solon, whatever you want to call them, their allies were the ones that pushed her down this path. It wasn't really a conclusion she came to.
If left to their own devices, it is certain they will eventually bring unimaginable calamity and suffering to the world. I detected their sorcery when you took Fort Mercius.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing, is the Death Knight apparently called in that sorcery, and then, again, fell without ever being that big. I mean, like, obviously, he almost ended the run, to be honest, but I can't say he's not that big a threat, but he certainly didn't have anything like that in his arsenal.
I have deduced the location of their stronghold, Shambhala. You will find its whereabouts enclosed.
Interesting, that's almost like Valhalla, but not. But the Hala makes me think it's from the same mythology.
There is no question that they are the enemies of everyone in Fodlan. Do not allow yourselves to forget that.
Then why were we fighting amongst each other, you big stupid dorkhead?
Lastly, while I cannot say she is in good health, the Archbishop resides in a secret chamber in the Imperial Palace.
That's really interesting. Not really interesting, but I definitely concretely remember that I had a dream that Rhea had actually died. And I thought, in the dream, I was really confused why they had this whole thing set up with Rhea. Like, why didn't they just have her die on the battlefield there?
I have shared the location of the entrance to that secret chamber with the person to whom I have entrusted this letter. I believe that Her Majesty will be victorious. Even still, I must plan for her defeat as well.
The other thing to notice about this letter that is really interesting is that apparently this means that Edelgard was not able to conceive of the possibility of her defeat, and it fell to Hubert to make contingency plans.
If you wish to lead this world, I challenge you to rise to the occasion and surpass my estimation of you. Such is your obligation as the victors, and the only fitting tribute to all that Lady Edelgard sacrificed.
You won, so you'd better be a good leader.
Hubert, to leave a letter like this behind. You were a better man than I believed you to be.
That is true. The entire, like, I'd spent some time considering Edelgard and what her motives were. I hadn't really thought anything other than that Hubert was a vassal and a very, very committed underling.
So, Rhea is alive, and the fight isn't over yet. Those who slither in the dark. It sounds like Fodlan will never know peace unless we defeat them.
Well, then there's only one thing we can do.
The allies of Monica and Tomas. Well, we knew about them already. I think it's safe to assume this is the same group who used Lysithea for their blood experiments.
I wonder if does that line not exist if I'm not on the Everyone Survives file?
And they were also responsible for the javelins of light that destroyed the fortress. But who were these children of the goddess who they supposedly resent?
Bodlinians?
There's just not enough information here. I don't suppose there's any chance that this is his idea of a prank. If so, wow, good one. Hubert, rather than writing a letter, you should have just told us before we fought.
I know, that's my most frustrating thing. Although, at least with Edelgard, it's a little more understandable why she felt the need to have a clash of armies. Dimitri still bothers the hell out of me. There was literally no reason for Dimitri to want to fight us. And yet, he did.
Right. We still don't know for sure if this letter is telling the truth. Let's go find out.
I do think my next playthrough is going to be Dimitri's playthrough. Purely because I do want to know. I think seeing it from his perspective may shine some light on why he did the things he did. I'm not sure if the stories are exactly the same. Someone did say that there is quite a bit of difference between them, obviously, because you know Claude's not going to defeat Dimitri. But I don't know if they like build out the exact same story either.
You have come to save me.
Wow, she looks very different without her headdress.
Is this a dream? I have longed to see you again, this time? Is it truly you?
That is fair. I mean, she got captured 5 years ago and has no idea I've been running around. I do have to wonder if people told her that Edelgard was fighting the church. Because if she heard that, she might have been able to piece it together. Also, she has pointy ears. Is she an elf?
Claude, I can see you have grown into a reliable young man.
Yeah, she is short as anything. Holy crap. I remember her being... And that's weird because I haven't really changed that much, but I remember her being significantly taller than me.
Thank you for supporting the professor. And for rescuing me. Surely the protection of the goddess has...
Wait, Rhea.
Like, don't bring up the goddess. That's not why we're here.
What do you know about the children of the goddess?
Children of... What is this about?
Forgive my bluntness. Someone from the Empire filled us in on a few things. I know it must be painful for us to ask you difficult questions after such an arduous confinement.
That is the big question. Like, what is... They didn't really talk about... They said maybe she wasn't in good health, but she was in a secret room. Like, how much was she cared for? Was she just left in there starving? Was it basically a dungeon cell? Was it a... was there at least a bit... Like, I don't know how strong or weak she would be at this point.
But we have no choice. We must defeat a secret enemy. Those who slither in the dark. Do you know about them?
Those who slither in the dark.
Apparently, they resent the children of the goddess and the people of the world, and are planning something big, something terrible. They use blood for their wicked magic, and are capable of dropping javelins of light from the sky, which are powerful enough to crush a fortress.
That's true, but, like, actually hearing him say it, I'm like, oh, geez.
If you can think of anything at all, please, tell us now. We need to know as much as possible about these enemies in order to stop them. This is the critical moment that will determine whether or not Fodlan falls. Can't you see that the time for secrets has passed?
Jeez, Claude.
It is true that there is a group of people who have slithered in the darkness and threatened the peace of Fodlan since ancient times.
If I were Rhea, I'd be like, can I get some food?
I am sure you have heard the stories of a man named Nemesis.
Yeah, my predecessor.
Nemesis, the King of Liberation. He's the hero to whom the goddess gave the Sword of the Creator.
Every single time, I don't know what it is, but every single time I always think it's Nemesis, the King of Libation, which is a very different thing to say.
Nemesis was originally the leader of a group of bandits. He plundered the Holy Tomb and stole the remains of the progenitor god.
Wow, Nemesis is an asshole.
When Nemesis appeared in Xanadu some time later, he already wielded the Sword of the Creator.
In Xanadu? Is that the, like, Red Plains?
The Red King.
Yep, I thought so. I thought I recognized it.
I do not know how Nemesis obtained the sword, or why he appeared in Xanadu. But he used that sword to massacre the people there, the children of the progenitor god. From their corpses he gained even more power, and brought war to Fodlan.
That's completely different from what the legends tell us about Nemesis.
It is. It's almost like legends aren't reliable.
A mere bandit like Nemesis would not have been capable of anything so monstrous on his own.
Aha! So Nemesis had accomplices. And those accomplices must have been those who slither in the dark. They used Nemesis. And this time, they used the Imperial Army to once again bring war to Fodlan.
So yeah, all we've done is set them back slightly.
I finally get it. And I even understand why Edelgard was associating with them.
I really don't. That's my big question.
Just as they were trying to use the Empire was trying to use them.
Well, that's a dumb idea, Edelgard.
Rhea, there's still a mountain of things I need to ask you. And I will. But I'll leave all of that for another day. You must be weak after living in confinement for so long. Please, rest for a while. My friend, let's prepare for battle. We need to strike Shambhala as soon as possible.
As soon as possible? Like, are we not going to have another month?
You must not allow Fodlan's bloody history, the Red Canyon tragedy, to repeat itself.
I sort of assumed we'd have another chapter here.
It occurs to me that we never got an answer from Rhea about the children of the goddess.
No, other than Nemesis killed the goddess's children, but we just don't know who the hell they are.
She did say that the people of the Red Canyon were the children of the progenitor god, so I suppose so. But those evil guys continued to plot their revenge even after the Red Canyon tragedy. Does that mean some of the children of the goddess, or their descendants, are still alive?
They're probably us. Actually, in all seriousness, I bet they are the bloodline of myself, and completely blanked on their name. Not Sothis, Sethis, or Sethos, or whatever. The father-daughter, special blood people. Yeah, Flame.
If there's something special about her blood, we can't rule out the possibility.
Well, and she was specifically abducted by Solon and kind of Monica.
What are these children anyway? And how are they connected to the goddess? I almost disappeared into the bottomless swamp that is my mind. I thought that after we defeated the Empire, I'd be able to see that sight I long to see.
We can't unite the world yet. United Fodlan. You know this.
I've told you about my dreams before. I want to break down the wall separating Fodlan from the outside world. The sight I want to see lies beyond that. Honestly, it's a trivial thing to fixate on. Just people, gathered in their towns, living out their lives together, sometimes laughing, sometimes fighting. But the people living there aren't just citizens of Fodlan. There are people from Dagda, Bridget, and even Dusker and Srang.
Alright.
There could be people who were born in Almyra, or countries even farther east there, too. All of those people living together like it's nothing special at all. That's...
Oh, dang, I didn't mean to cut that.
It's so simple, but still so far away.
And that is true.
But this is no time for complaining. We need to focus on capturing Shambhala. Let's hurry up and gather everyone together.
We may be going straight into it again. Holy crap.
So, you mean to tell me that Fodlan will fall to ruin if we leave those guys be?
Well, they'll certainly try, if nothing else.
If this map is reliable, their base is just south of my family's territory.
This story is a bit much to believe. And yet...
It does ring true, somehow.
I mean, I'm not sure how you determined that, but okay.
Remember Monica, the one who killed Gerald, and the old man who was masquerading as Tomas? They were their allies, and the Flame Emperor and the Death Knight were merely their pawns.
The people who were after my blood?
Yes, indeed. I'm glad she's here.
They were also the ones who used me to conduct their blood experiments.
As awful as it sounds, they're seemingly fond of using blood in their secret techniques.
Ugh, that's really gross. I could never be friends with someone like that.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that you don't want to be friends with the people we're planning on tracking down and murdering. That would get awkward.
Also responsible for the Javelin of Light that destroyed Fort Mercius.
Hold up, boy. Do you really think that we can win against such powerful foes?
Well, it does seem like the Javelin Knight only showed up the one time, and it does seem its goal was to keep us from being able to fortify against them. Although, in all honesty, that's a pretty crappy strategy. Like, if you are capable of leveling a force with Javelin of Light, wouldn't you want your enemies to occupy it, rather than be like, "Oh, you can't occupy this place, haha."
I don't know. But we have to try, don't we?
It feels to me as though if these guys are very secretive and behind the scenes, they're not going to be that much of a military might, because if they were, and they have all of these abilities, why would they need the Empire?
Since Edelgard can't do it, I guess it falls to us.
They were trying to use the Imperial Army to plunge Fodlan into war, but we nipped that in the bud. Now, we just need to tear out their roots. And I know we have what it takes to do it.
All right.
Part 2. Verdant Wind. Blue Sea Moon. The city without light.
Ooh, we might have to bring out torches, guys.
Immediately following Edelgard's defeat, the Alliance army discovers the existence of another adversary, a group operating behind the scenes within the Empire. Claude suspects that if the true enemy is left unchecked, disaster will befall Fodlan, and so he cuts short the celebration and the troops head for Shambhala, where this foe resides.
I love how it's like, hey, this is what's happening. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just saw the scenes. Oh, that's so kind of weird scene. Here is Varoth and Edelgard and Dimitri. Obviously from the very first encounter. Absolutely. What's going on, Marianne? The
Dear
Professor
guidance,
and
I ask
Marianne.
for guidance. Professor, you're always watching over me, aren't you?
It seems that way, yeah.
I've spent my life avoiding people, so I wouldn't have to expose them to this horrible burden of a
It is really interesting how much the Marianne is always looking to the goddess for guidance, and yet the goddess kind of resides in me, but we don't talk that much.
My father was born with it as well. He's the one who told me to avoid others as much as possible. He said it would be the cause of great unhappiness to both myself and everyone around me.
That's unfortunate.
After some time, I was only truly comfortable opening up to animals and the goddess. Do you remember the time you asked what it was I prayed for?
I'm glad.
But that wasn't the case.
I'm glad Varoth remember that. I definitely do not.
Back then, I felt that my life served no purpose, and that I was nothing more than a burden. In truth, I was begging the goddess to take me to her.
Well, I guess I'm glad you didn't go to Varoth with that truth, because after how we dealt with Edelgard, you'd be like, okay.
That was my daily prayer.
He wouldn't really do that.
But now I fear the idea of dying and being left alone. I have friends who accept me for who I am now, in spite of my crest. And I have you watching over me. I finally learned to accept the kindness and warmth of others.
We'll always be here for you, Marianne.
It's because of you, Professor. Because of you, I've decided to live. I'm sorry to have worried you, but I'm all right now.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm still not ready to tell everyone about my crest, but I feel that the burden of my curse has been lifted. Even if I'm separated from you or any of my friends, the memories I've made here will give me the strength to continue on.
Yep, always look forward. You can't change the past. Wait, okay. This seems a little bit, misunderstandable. You're with Leone, sir.
I'm sure I'll have the strength to move forward if we're together.
I just don't get it.
What is it, Claude?
Why you're still here? After we left immediately?
Those javelins of light. They were trying to use it to kill us at Fort Mercius, right?
Well, that's again, and at the time, because the Death Knight told us to get out.
But then why not drop it on Garreg Mach? They must have known for a while that we were here.
It is not that they chose to refrain, but rather that they were unable to do so.
Ah, you put your head back on. And you're taller. I bet that just means she's wearing, like, super heels.
Rhea, how are you feeling?
I am well enough. I cannot afford to rest while Fodlan is in danger.
What do you mean when you say they couldn't drop a javelin of light here?
Once, a very long time ago, a massive ball of light fell upon this monastery. However, that light mysteriously changed course in mid-air and landed in ALL instead.
Interesting, is it because this is like super holy ground?
ALL, the Valley of Torment. So that's what the wreckage of those javelins of light looks like.
The Holy Tomb is not only the location of the progenitor god's eternal slumber, but also a sacred vessel for a power that repels evil.
Interesting that the javelins of light are considered evil.
Supposedly, the progenitor god built the Holy Tomb herself to protect her children from the evil light.
So the children of the goddess gathered in Xanadu because of its proximity to the monastery? But we've fought at distant locations many times.
Despite that, the javelins of light only fell on Fort Mercius.
In his letter, Hubert said that he detected their magic when the fort fell.
Well, there's also the fact that, again, the Death Knight told us to get out.
In other words, because they used a javelin of light, Hubert was able to pinpoint the location of their base.
So they didn't use it before then because they didn't want us to know where their base is?
Well, Hubert at least.
In any case, those javelins of light must be something they can't just use whenever they want.
Because that is also true. If they suspected that if Edelgard and they had kind of gotten to an end of their alliance, which since Edelgard had successfully taken out the church and was well on the path to overcoming Fodlan and becoming the emperor of the entire place, she would be looking to ridding herself of the Slitherers. And because of that, they wouldn't want to use the Javelins of Light because that would leave Edelgard free to strike back at them. Although even then, they used it on Fort Mercius, and it was the Death Knight that saved us. My guess is that they didn't want to completely cripple Claude's army because that would leave Edelgard free to wipe them out.
And they finally decided to use one at Mercius, where they were sure they'd be able to finish us off. It's only thanks to the whims of the Death Knight that we escaped with our lives. And no Javelins of Light have fallen since then.
It's possible that the enemy hasn't yet realized that we've learned the location of their base.
If so, their guard may be down, which makes this the perfect time for a surprise attack.
I will accompany you.
Oh, really?
What? No, that would be far too dangerous. Your long confinement weakened you greatly.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because yeah, she'll probably, assuming she's even playable, she'll probably be just roughly at the right level, and they will use the confinement to explain that.
Those people have opposed us since ancient times. I wish to learn the truth about them for myself.
I understand. I will not stop you, but please take care not to overexert yourself.
I doubt she'll be in the actual battle, Sedith. I've already got my party.
We don't know exactly what we're up against here, but having you around is very reassuring, Rhea. Let's prepare to strike at Shambhala before they make their next move.
All right. Okay, this will be a full month then. Good to confirm. Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, do we have anything we need to do in terms... That is the wrong button. So yeah, Lysethia and Raphael have one to look at. And at least Raphael's with Shamir.
Shamir.
Raphael?
All right. That went better than I thought. Funny sounds when you're scared.
I wasn't scared. Forget that happened. Still, I'm impressed. You managed to sneak up on me. Not many can do that.
That is really impressive, actually, because he's kind of lumbering.
It's because I practiced that in-out-out breathing you showed me. I practiced until I passed out. It was worth it, though. I've been able to get real close to enemies lately without them noticing.
Well, that's awesome.
I think I pretty much got it figured out. Sneaking up on you is a good sign.
True. To be honest, I didn't think you had it in you.
I didn't either, to be completely frank.
I never thought you'd be able to suppress that unbearably palpable presence of yours. I respect anyone who could learn so much in such a short period of time. You might even be ready for a recon mission.
Wow, okay.
Recon? With you? And me? Together?
God damn, Raphael.
Why the surprise? I said you were ready.
Wow! I never thought I'd get to go scouting with you. I guess that practice really is paying off. Whoa! Was that a smile?
Raphael, calm down. You're not in puberty anymore.
Calm down, Raphael. Are you really that excited to go with me? Your presence may have dimmed, but your emotions are hitting me like a tidal wave.
Oh, sorry. Is there a way to breathe and hide those too?
No, that requires different training from someone else. I'll keep you informed about the recon mission.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it.
Raphael's amazing. I do definitely think that Raphael and Raphael is I'm going to try my hardest to recruit and be able to like see more of, because I've missed a lot of him. I know I've seen the support scenes, but I want to spend more. He's amazing, and Lysithea will probably also be recruited. I'm guessing probably Raphael will end up in the Edelgard campaign and Lysithea in the Dimitri campaign, only because if Edelgard is working with the people that experiment on her, I can't see Lysithea ever sticking around.
Yum.
It's always weird when you go back to a C rank.
So delicious. I'm so content in this moment. Felix!
Lysithea, you look mortified.
How long have you been there? Were you watching me? You were, weren't you?
I was, yes.
For once, I thought I had some privacy.
Well, you're in the middle of the audience hall.
Did you say something?
Huh? Nope. Didn't say anything at all. Here.
What's this for?
I'm buying your silence. With cake. Take it.
I'm not sure what to be silent about.
If people knew I was shoveling cake into my face by the fistful, they'd think me nothing more than a child.
Everyone... Like, God, get over this.
Adults eat cake.
Like, at the same time, this is the C rank, and I kind of knew we'd go back to her preoccupation with people considering her less because of her age.
You'll never understand. Just take this, will you?
No, I don't like sweets.
Does your refusal mean you'll be telling everyone about my cake shoveling ways?
God damn it.
I just don't like sweets, that's all.
Nonsense. Nobody can resist something so delicious.
You're lying about your personal preferences. Why would I do that? Shut up!
Look, I'm giving you this cake whether you like it or not. Eat it, toss it, throw it at an unsuspecting victim.
Throw it at Lysithea.
The choice is yours. Just please don't mention this to anyone.
You're no fun.
What was her problem? And what am I supposed to do with this cake?
Alright, and the last thing I want to do, because everyone else is alive in the other file, and we'll watch their scenes there, if they have them. But the other thing, because there is a hot springs thing up here that I had forgotten existed. I'm not sure I want to do this, but I'm totally doing this. I also want to join you at the sauna. You both strengthen your bond and improve your physical condition. Sauna without overheating, both will see improved results in any instruction they see during the moon. You can also see how warm the characters are. If you stay longer, warm the characters up a little. While choosing increased steam will warm them up a lot. The gauge will increase. Choose leaves as part of the sauna. Gauge will fill up whenever the... Cat, I can't see. Gold reads the black line, which indicates the units become relaxed. Units share close bonds. Possible they become relaxed and glow even before the gauge reaches the black line. If you get too warm in the sauna, on the risk of overheating and getting dizzy. If this happens, the visit to the sauna will end. Keep a close eye on how Agnes leave the sauna feeling refreshed and has a glow about them. They'll see improved results of physical or instruction. They both Agnes and the guest. Okay. So I can pick. First of all, is there anyone I need? Ignatz I am not maxed out with, or Dorothea. Or Shamir on this file. Well, then absolutely I'm getting Shamir. Even though, as we already know, the one that really, really matters is Leonie, but she's done. We'll go ahead and look at this. She looks so... So this is going to put him over. I get her into the... Interesting, okay. So that was certainly something I hadn't seen before. That was not as lascivious as I was expecting, and I'm not upset about that. But I will be back next time on the other file. We will explore the monastery, and we will actually spend our 8 points. I think I probably will actually go to the sauna on that file as well, because I do think using that in order to make Varath learn better is probably a good use of my time. See you next time, everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in.